All right. Check, check, check. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Check, check, 1, 2. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Can everybody hear me? And can you also hear the punk rock teacher? Let me hear you in chat. You hear him? You hear us both? And we both look completely handsome and ridiculous. Perfect.
The question is, though, who had better music? Who had better, what was your starter song?
I played Cantaloupe by Us Three.
Damn, that's not bad. That's actually a pretty decent start. I played Come On Heartache by the Menzingers.
Man, this spectrum. Nice. All right, so
Well, I
welcome
wasn't
home,
sure
everybody.
how punk rock to go, so I was
Yeah,
just kind of.
that's fair. That's fair. So as far as my people go over here, I've kind of spun everybody up as far as kind of what today will be. We're looking at about 30 minutes, just so everybody knows, and just having a discussion about online communities. You'll see down below me is Aaron. Aaron, if you want to introduce yourself and kind of throw the stuff at the wall and give people an idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody, welcome. Thank you guys for popping in over in the Twitch and YouTube world. Us TikTokers don't move over there a whole lot unless we're gamers, so it's actually really cool to be a part of that whole world community and whatnot. But my name is Aaron Leatherbarrow. I'm known online as the punk rock teacher. And I've been doing this for about 5 years. At first, I was an English teacher and I was just kind of making content and whatnot on TikTok. Started live streaming about 5 years ago and really built an incredible community of people through playing the game Wordle on the New York
Oh
Times or the
yeah.
New York Times Wordle because I used to play it with my first period class in when I was an English teacher, and so I would just start live streaming on TikTok, and there would be
Hmm.
thousands of people wanting to help me with the word.
Wow.
Like, no, I know the word, I know the word, and and I was like, hey, what the hell? I might as well just play the game. And
Yeah.
so I was like looking into YouTubers, like how they play games online. And I was like, well, I'm not a PS5 person, but I am, I can stream it from my laptop.
Nice.
So anyway, that started us on the journey about 4 or 5 years ago. And we just honestly, we have a statement because the starter word, any Wordle player has their starter word,
Okay.
and a lot of people, whatever. So our starter word, which is 5 letters, is the word alone. And I literally say probably, I don't know, 75,000 times a day, you are never
Alone.
alone. And that
Nice.
kind of like built this community, everybody. And so like we show up every day. We played Wordle together every day for hours. And then the TikTok world just kind of took over.
I love that.
So about 6 months ago, I started this idea of people should be going live. Like this is there's a lot of people who want to and who just think that they can do it randomly. So I was like, all right, I'm also an author. I've written a lot of different things.
Hmm.
So I decided to write a book called Go Live. And I started thinking about like other streamers who have an incredible journey, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Twitch, whether it's on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram. There's tons of people that are going live, showing off their personality, that what they're showcasing who they really are.
Hmm.
And one of my community members, her name's Kirsten Miller, said you have to talk to Roscoe on the couch. And I was like, okay, show me everything about him. So that's how you and I connected. That's why we're here. This is going to be kind of an interview for the book that you'll see in the TikTok chat down there, but it's called Go Live, and it's going to be awesome.
Very cool. I'm excited. I mean, like I told you in the call earlier, I get really passionate about this stuff and the live stuff. I think, and we'll talk about it in the questions, I'm sure. But as far as the community goes, like I thought this was so much better to be done live, even though it can be distracting with some of
Yeah.
those bozos over there. That I feel like they are a main character in the story, and it just makes sense if we're going to talk about communities, like they should be a part of that conversation as well.
I actually really love that. There's a whole chapter on building a community, and that's the kind of the one that I really wanted to feature you in, because what it really comes down to is you can't do this without a community. And so
Yeah.
like I often like compare. building a community and like hosting a dinner party.
Mm,
Like if you're a live streamer and you don't understand what hosting is,
yeah.
this is going to be very difficult for you. Because like so often I was literally co-hosting with, like on TikTok, there's like battle culture and co-hosting culture. And I run to co-hosting lots of different people. And I talked to this dude and he was like, yeah, I just show up and nobody shows up. So I don't know what to talk about. I'm like, bro, you can't make them do the work.
Right.
Like that's insane. So I basically really do want to interview you. I want to talk. Have very specific questions. I figured we probably could start earlier than later. That way
Sure.
we can kind of incorporate the chat, and I want them to have like their voice and be able to answer questions. Feel free. I know we have moderators over on TikTok. I don't know how
Yep.
things work over there, but moderators, please keep like pinned comments of like important questions or anything like that, and show it to us kind of towards the end of the interview at around like 1:20 would be Eastern Standard Time, 1:20. So just if you guys can help me out on that department. I don't know if you've got that same
Hmm.
situation
Yep.
on Twitch. I don't know how it
Yeah,
works.
we totally have a plan. Yeah, we're professional. Yeah, mods, do the
All
thing.
right. Well, all right. Well, I have said too much, and this is much more about you. So let's just get started on how things work. My first question is for anybody in my world, anybody over here on the TikTok world, okay, that's meeting you for the first time. Can you tell us? We want to know your story, is really what it comes down to. Can you tell us who you are, what you do, what kind of room you have? Get us in.
Okay. I will try to make this as concise as possible, which is not my strong suit. I'm a bit of a rambler. So I guess the easiest way to understand who I am and where I came from, I am a former Marine who ultimately ended up just uploading this weird YouTube video of me playing Beat Saber, which is a VR game. And one of the songs was a BTS song, and I had no idea who they were and nothing about it. It was just me playing the game. And next thing you know, that fandom showed up and said, this is really cool. You should check out their music. And then I didn't know what that meant. They mentioned reactor. I have no idea. But like you have your alone word, I have my do it for the story word. And I said, I'm just going to go big. I'm going to do it for the story. I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to try reacting to BTS's music and just see what it is. And that really did kind of like fill a void in my life because I'd lost my dad years ago and I've been really searching for something to get lost in, and that it all kind of found me in that one moment.
Nice.
So that's kind of what got me into YouTube. And I guess the statistically, it kind of looks like I uploaded my first video at the end of December in 2021. Within 4 weeks, we'd already hit like the monetization point on YouTube, which is 1,000 subscribers and I think like 4,000 watch hours. And from there, within the next, I think it was 6 or 8 weeks, we hit 10,000 subscribers. So things were climbing really fast. And that was just on the YouTube end. And then those cats convinced me to go live. I was absolutely terrified. I had no idea what I was doing. And I was just like a boy with all my wonder and questions and curiosities. I said, I'm going to give it a try. And I went live in February of 2022, and I've never looked back. At this point, like you can see the room is like you said, it's a live streamer's room, which was one of my fears in the beginning.
I didn't say that. I said a YouTubers.
Oh, YouTube.
I said
That's
a
right.
YouTubers.
That's fair. Yeah, live stream is very different.
YouTubers and Twitch streamers have very different backgrounds than
Yeah.
TikTokers. We're much more raw. I'm telling you, it's a whole like we don't like we'll take the phone outside on a picnic and call that the background. It's not.
Yeah, that's very different.
I have the fact that you did it on Beat Saber blows my mind, actually. Like, I've actually played that game.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard that BTS song. I think that's so freaking funny. Oh my God, I love that. Okay, so let's go back to the third part of that question. Like, tell me about how would you describe like this community that you've built online. So you mentioned do it for the story. I want to kind of go in a little bit deeper into that. Talk to us about your community.
Okay, so what I noticed early on when I started posting YouTube videos was a whole bunch of people would show up in the comments to post their opinions and thoughts and suggestions, but the same people, I started recognizing names through all the videos that I was posting. So I was realizing that there was already kind of a community of people that were there, but they were kind of stuck in this proverbial purgatory. Like because they couldn't really interact with each other that much. It was always like the back and forth of like, I post a comment and then 24 hours later somebody responds. So when we switched over to the live side of things, it was super interesting to see the first 10 or 15 minutes of every stream would be everybody saying hello to everybody else. They started recognizing each other. So the community started to organically form in and of itself.
Mhm.
And I just happened to be the delicious and humble eye candy that was on the screen. But they just kept showing up. So it was really, really neat. And ultimately, like, we went from YouTube to Twitch, and it was only like a month later after I started doing all of this that somebody reached out to me. Her name's Lulu. She's my lead admin. She said, I can build you a Discord server to kind of house your community. Do you want to do that? And I was like, I don't know any of the words you just said. Yes, let's do it for the story. Just do it. She did that.
Yeah.
And at this point, like, the way that I kind of view it is the couch as it stands is essentially a house. And we have like the movie room, which is Twitch. That's where we do everything live. Discord is kind of the living room where everybody hangs out all throughout the day. Patreon is the archives. That's kind of the basement where all of the replays and live streams sit. And then we've got like the closet, which is our merch store. We've got a community Minecraft server, which is the backyard. And it just kind of goes from there. And for me to kind of figure out that visual, it helps me understand how I think the community needs to, like, not needs to, but should be managed in a way to make sure that it can sit on its own weight instead of just trusting me. Like, I can't be the one to always answer every message and help every person and give advice. Like, that's what the community does. And the way that we've built it over these years is that the community supports itself instead of leaning on me to do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, so I want to kind of talk more about that because I discuss a lot, in the book that when you really start to see success is not necessarily when you become more entertaining, but when the community itself builds upon itself. Like, there's this moment where, like, and that's why I'm so intrigued by your house analogy, because I really love that's so different. And I think it's really important that people understand like the actual culture of live streaming is so different according to each platform.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I really wanted to be very comprehensive in this. So like in TikTok, it's much more the Wild West, and it's much more like you have people coming in and out of your live stream the entire live stream, and you got about less than half a second. You know what I mean? Because it's that scroll feature, man. They're scroll. Wait, who is this guy? This is boring. Scroll. And that's a very, very important thing to understand because, like, the culture is much more like active and like in your face and whatever. And so my fiance, who is an author and she's unbelievable, and she's very big on the Substack app, which I think is a phenomenal app. It's much more for like writers and artists and things like that. Yeah. And she'll go live. And these are the only kind of lives that I've ever seen her do, which is much more like, let me have a real conversation, almost podcast style, that people kind of listen to, and it doesn't interact a ton with the actual chat in itself.
Right.
And so what I'm curious about, and this is kind of basing on my third question, which is, when did you realize that the people were there for more than just watching you?
Well, to be as accurate as possible, like, the reason most people showed up in the beginning was because of the content that I was consuming, and that was BTS. They wanted to see my authentic reaction to the art that BTS had made. So they showed up for BTS. But once they kind of heard my voice, or they liked what I was presenting, they could see my authenticity, then they stayed around. And so I think that the difference is, like, you had Wordle that brought your community to you. I had
Hmm.
BTS, right? And so the biggest navigation that I had to make was for my entire first year as a streamer, everything I did was exclusively BTS. That was my whole world. When I
Yeah.
decided to open up the gates to other artists, that is a very potentially volatile thing to that community because the community can see that as, oh, you used us to make a platform and now you're just going to open up to everybody else and leave us behind. So it was a very
Hmm.
tricky journey to make, but I think the point that I realized it was going to be deeper than just YouTube videos and stuff. It literally happened almost immediately, and it's something we talked about as a community
Yeah.
last night, which was as soon as the group started to grow, my one of my personality traits that can be a strength, but it really became a weakness because the mistake that I made as as an early streamer and content creator was I opened up myself from like a guidance standpoint and as a vulnerability standpoint to everybody on every platform. I was saying like, hey, if you need somebody to talk to, shoot me a message. And all of my platforms exploded. And my
Yeah.
problem is I tried to be that person for every single message that came through. And like I got a full-time job, I got a family. I don't have the emotional capacity, but for a year I tried. And so
Yeah.
the community became a community almost instantaneously. But
Hmm.
it really took probably, I would say, between 6 months to a year to really become strong enough to exist, even if I stepped out for 2 months, which I did at the end of that first year because I was emotionally drained.
Yeah. Wow, I love that. Actually, I kind of want to. This isn't in, I didn't send you this question, but I want to build up on this. Okay. So you mentioned like you were trying to do it all. Okay. And I used to, I was in education.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually in pastoral ministries before
Mm-hmm.
that. And like for a long time, I would always tell people that your community is only as big as your leadership can reach.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, as a single host with one person, and you like mentioned, you tried to reach out to everyone, but of
Yeah.
course can't. Then when was that? Like, is there a moment, or is there even like a leadership amongst your community? You mentioned Lulu, who helped set up your
Mm-hmm.
Discord. And like in TikTok world, we have like moderators, you know what I'm saying? But not only that, I've created something very, very unique that's all like punk rock themed. Okay.
Okay.
So like we have like we obviously have our chief moderators, but we also have like our team name, and we're called the Misfits.
Okay.
So like anybody can join the team and they can become a misfit if they join the team. But then there's like VIP levels
Mm-hmm.
that if they do a certain function within the chat or within the live stream, then they become what I call a violent femme or a
Okay.
violent fella. You know what I mean? Because the
Nice.
word violence in TikTok has this own, like all of this is like TikTok related
Mm-hmm.
as well as punk rock related. But within that, there's this sense of kind of like leadership to where my chief moderators, our VIPs,
Yep.
all of them, not only do they come to the live stream constantly, but like I've got people that like help with the reach. And
Yeah.
I've noticed a huge growth when that happened. When like, hey, I love you. Thank you so much for being here. Is there any way that you could such and such, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And when they start participating as a community in this form of in a leadership role, I just noticed that
Mm.
exploded and our
Okay.
reach became a lot bigger. And I'm
Interesting.
wondering if anything like that happened with you.
So I think I'm going. of course, I want to be as honest as possible, but there's going to be things that have happened contextually that I just don't know about. But I do think that,
Hmm.
like, I've never been the type. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I've never been the guy that's been like, don't forget to subscribe. It's just not. It's not. I'm here on the screen, and people show up, and then we chat, and that's kind of we have fun. So I never really
Yeah.
went out of my way to try to grow the community. I just figured if I'm in the seat and I'm as real as I can be, the people that stay are staying for me. The people that don't, maybe we just don't vibe, and that's not my people. But as far as the moderators and the team goes, it's probably pretty standard, but the way that I viewed it And the way that I tend to think about it is almost from a military standpoint, because if I'm the let's say the platoon leader, I've got Lulu, who is my right-hand person. She's the one that manages the Discord, and all the community as far as the Discord goes. She takes care of everything inside and out, and I can be completely hands off. She just controls everything. She's amazing, and she's a robot. She's plain and simple. She's a robot. I don't know how she does it. Now, Tasia is my left hand, and Tasia is my content manager. So she's the content master. Basically, we do a live stream. She takes that live stream, she chops it up into little pieces, and she sends it out onto the YouTube channels. Beyond that, we've got a team of moderators that are mainly for Discord. We've got a team of moderators for the live chat. And then we've got any number of, like, we have info masters that are kind of like the Wikipedia people on the Discord for like so many different music groups and stuff. We've got Care Bears that are kind of like the guidance counselors and listening ears within the community. We've got, like, our lead moderator is Rondo. We call her Rondopedia. She is like this wealth of knowledge and facts, and the list goes on. We have all these little cells that help manage the community to make sure that the people that we call space buttholes don't get into the community and try to F everything up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Care Bears is great. Oh, babe, I love you. Sorry, that was my fiance saying that she loved Care Bears.
Nice.
Okay, final question, and this is very important. By the way, you have like so many good sound bites. I'm like already, like, as an author thinking,
nice.
Damn, like that was so good. Girl Code Secret. Sorry, no, like that's gonna be like separated. When you said, that line about like, I'm just gonna show up as my authentic self, and if people don't necessarily vibe with me, they can feel free to move on.
Yeah.
Brother, that is, I mean, you might just be thinking that naturally, but I'm telling you, like, strategically, that is perhaps maybe the most important thing for any up and coming live streamer to understand. That if you are out there to try to get someone in, it's never going to work.
Right.
Like, if you're out there to try, like, hey, subscribe to my channel, hey, hit the, like, if you're doing that, it's just, we can see that from a mile away.
Absolutely. Yep.
And that is, like, in the TikTok world, that is like, scroll up, scroll up. No, thank you. But when you said that, that's like, honestly, brother, that, like, I the whole interview was worth it for that one specific thing that you said, because I think it is so beautiful. And it, honestly, I concur very deeply is what I'm trying to say.
Awesome.
Anyway, so final question is, I want you to talk to the audience of the book that is going to read it. So I want you to think of a person. Let's say, we've got someone who's a stay-at-home mom. They're they're watching their infant and their 3-year-old, their husband or their spouse or their partner or whatever is out to work, and they feel like they could bring in an extra income by starting a live stream. Okay, so they think this, whatever. Or let's say it's a construction worker, like, on his break, but he's got like an hour where he sits in his car and opens his lunch pail and decides that he wants to go live. Okay, and it could be but just someone that has a desire to put themselves up in front of a live community. Okay, like as real as it gets, you got to show up. If you could tell that creator, okay, that hasn't necessarily built the place for someone to feel loyal to, that doesn't have the couch, or, you know what I'm saying, that doesn't have Team Misfits, that hasn't built, because all of that just kind of happened as we were learning it, right? Like, that was like, we were building it upon what we were doing. If you could tell someone, like, the best way to build something for someone to belong to, what advice would you give them?
See, this is the moment where I wish I had read those questions that you sent me, but I'm gonna try to really nail this. Okay, that's a hell of a question. All right, so what I would say, oh God, this is gonna be such a disaster. I'm trying to, like, talk to the reader. Okay, so what I would say is, it's kind of math. It's passion plus authenticity plus consistency. If you
Say that again. Say that again. Passion
plus authenticity plus consistency. So the way
Okay.
I see it is, if you're passionate about anything, there are other people that have that passion. If you like Smurfs, Smurf it up. If you get excited about Care Bears, all
I love
day,
this.
because there are people. There are so many niches out there, and there's so many people that care about so many different things. So if you are authentic and you are passionate about whatever it is you're talking about, you're going to bring people in from those niches. But I think that if you are authentic and passionate, you can still be pulling in people that don't fit that niche because they just like the vibe that you push out. And if you do that on a consistent level, I think the people will come. But that's the key point of that is authenticity. You might not even be passionate about anything, but you can sit there and have a conversation with the one person that shows up on your phone during your lunch break, and you're like, hey, what's up, Jeff? And then you have a conversation. Next thing you know, number 2 comes in, and then it becomes a little bit more. And that snowball begins to go. But I think that if I had to nail it down to something that people can use as a guideline, it's passion plus authenticity. You have to be real, or people are going to call you out and you're just going to ruin the whole thing. And then finally, it's consistency, because you have to keep showing up. If you want other people to show up, you have to show up too. And I think this is probably a good chance to also acknowledge that with the you show up and people will show up, as well as the note that you said earlier, which is I'm just going to show up as my real self, and then people that vibe with me stay. If they don't, they don't. I feel like all of this is really just good guidance for being a good person. If you do these things, life will reward you in some ways. It's going to beat the hell out of you sometimes, but that's just life. But if you are a real person, then the real people who fit will find you. And I think that's the biggest key.
Yeah, that's actually a phenomenal response. You hit on a lot of the things that I really talk about in other chapters. Like, because literally chapter 1 is about understanding who you are, and I talk a lot about, like, you're not there, like, you're not there for just entertainment. Like, because entertainment is the greatest commodity amongst people that are looking at a screen.
Yeah.
I watched, like, I listened to Netflix talk one time about how their greatest adversary is not Hulu, it's not Paramount Plus, it's sleep.
Oh,
And
jeez.
that's like a wild understanding, is that, like, you're like that you if you are on a screen, the most valuable commodity that you are looking for is attention. You
Yeah.
are looking for people's attention, and the only way now, and I'm talking in 2026, and everybody from Hollywood all the way to the offices of TikTok understand, the only way to keep people's attention now is in authenticity.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because, like, what has taken over television? Reality TV. What has taken over the social media platforms? Live streaming. Do you see what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
like, everything is built upon this idea of being real in front of people.
Yep.
And so your answer is saying passions, okay, plus authenticity and plus consistency, I would echo 100%. I think that is very, very
Nice.
important. And again, I want to thank you for that. This is a final bonus question. This is like, again, I didn't even send this to you,
All
so
right.
you didn't even read the questions anyway. So who
Doesn't
cares?
matter.
Is again, like, I keep thinking of our target audience, right? Like the people that are interested in live streaming, okay, whether it's because they want to monetize or because they're just passionate about something, people that are into it. Like, my question is, okay, what is the one thing that you didn't know when you started that people need to know now that you're successful?
Wow. The one thing that I didn't know that people should know when they start.
hmm that you wish you would have known. I can give you mine if that helps
Yeah,
while
yeah,
you think
sure.
about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Like the one thing I wish I knew before I got started is that you have to be grounded in real life
Mm,
to be able to succeed in virtual world,
okay.
like in the world of live streaming. If you're not grounded in the IRL world where there's grass and people
Hmm.
and water and conversation and air,
Okay.
you will never be able to show up as your authentic self online.
Okay.
And I think very often people think that their online world is their real world. And what ends up
Mm,
happening is you get very, very ungrounded.
okay. Yeah.
And that really affects your mental health. That really affects your identity as a
Hmm.
human being. And that keeping firm in your real life is essential
Okay.
in showing up for your online community.
Okay. So I realize now how complex of a question that is, because when if somebody's reading this book and they want to become a live streamer, that doesn't necessarily mean that they want to be a streamer like us who have communities that they want to uphold. Like they could just want to be a gamer that's just raking in the money because they're great at the game and they don't even really care about the
Mhm.
names. So I think that the spectrum for the answer is incredibly complex, but if I had to give you an answer, I unfortunately I think it would be more geared towards my experience as a streamer. And I think that would be one thing that I wish I had known or I would have kept in mind better is that when you stream, it's very easy to see the people in the chat and all these words as simply just text on the screen. And in some way our brain looks at that as it's either not real people or it's more of a metric than anything. And we start to use that metric to follow the analytics of like, how many subscribers do I have? How much money am I going to make? And all that stuff. And it's easy to get lost in that. But I think that outside of saying like, when I'm away from the computer and I'm IRL, well, the reality for me with my community and how I view it is that even when I'm here, I'm still IRL to all of those people that are over there. And I think that's incredibly difficult to do. And it really does take boundaries and it takes trust on everybody's end that's involved. And that's from me, that's from the mods, that's from the chat as well. So it's like, it's I really do feel like even on the online side and the live stream side and the Discord side, the whole community aspect, because yeah, it's me and this is a version of me. It's not like these people actually know me myself, even though I'm as real as I can be. When I meet them in real life, I'm awkward as all hell. I'm not the guy that they see on the screen, and it's so weird. But the point is, I think that we have to remember as streamers that these are people that are, yes, they are giving us their attention, but they're also in some way, even if it is attention driven, they're seeking connection. And we are the one that they're kind of plugging into. So that reciprocal relationship should be respected. And that does come with
Mhm.
boundaries. I don't know if that made any sense whatsoever, but that's what I got.
I know it definitely did to me, but I'm in the business, so I totally actually really understand what you're saying.
Okay.
So I love that. And thank you. I wanted to kind of give our viewers on both sides a heads up. We've got about 10 minutes. My part of the interview is good. You have like completely crushed this.
Sweet.
There are so many points that we're going to talk about that's going to be in the book. Um, that's actually so funny. You're such a YouTuber. It's
Isn't it the
hilarious to
worst?
me. It's like you were like, I just like it's hilarious to me, like the difference of what a YouTuber is versus a TikToker. And I think it's absolutely amazing. All right. So can I give you a chat question? We've got
Please.
some kind of backed up here. I don't know if you have them over there,
No,
but
please run amok.
if your chat has any questions for me, I'm happy to answer.
Okay.
If my chat has any questions for you, I'm just going to give you a couple. Here's one. How did you decide how much of yourself to share with your community?
Oh man, that's a good one. I I started sharing way too much, way too early. That is the truth.
Same.
I wanted to be real. I wanted to be honest. And I was crying in like my sixth
Me
video on
too.
YouTube.
God, bro.
You know what I mean? And it's like, okay,
I know.
cat's out of the bag. So realistically, it was really early. It was way too much. And I've done a good job of like sharing my life in certain ways, but without compromising like my wife and her privacy or my family's privacy. So I can still be myself and I can share things about my life, but I still have to keep the boundaries of all the parties involved as well. But to say it was too early and way too much. Yeah.
I love that. That's so good. All right, let me ask you one more. And if you've got any follow up, okay,
Sure.
because I'm happy to ask anything that your people want to know. What's your golden rules for handling toxic viewers or chat trolls?
Oh, skadoosh, boo, boo. That's what we do. Like we've had very few over the years. We've had very few people like we are not the Wild West. The reason we call it the couch, and I realize I should have acknowledged this like in the first 5 minutes, but the reason we call this the couch is because in one of my early videos, I was talking about the subscribers coming in and the numbers kind of jumping up. But regardless of how big the channel got and the community got, I wanted it always to feel like you were sitting on the couch with a buddy and you were just having a conversation. And I'd like to think that we've done a good job of that. And now I'm realizing that I completely forgot your question.
You already answered it.
Did I? Oh, yeah, we get rid of them fast. And the reason for that is because, like, granted, there's sometimes when people come in and it's super obvious they're either just trolling to be a troll or they're probably just a complete D-bag in real life and we just get rid of them. Sometimes you're not quite sure and they might just be an awkward cat. So we give them a little flexibility and we even have the mods kind of say, hey, bro, just chill out a little bit. It's cool. Just hang tight. And if they still don't, we got to get rid of them. And the reason, even though if it might seem mean to that individual, it's all to protect the community.
The community.
Hands down.
Exactly.
Yep. We cannot sacrifice it.
On our side, when you live in the Wild West of TikTok, the trolls are not just prevalent or present, they are prevalent.
Oh, yeah.
They are often, they are constant. So let me just give a quick shout out on this live to Caitlin and Erica, who are our chief moderators and have been with me for 3 to 4 years.
That's awesome.
Okay. They are, and I mean this, ruthless.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, ruthless. Okay. So like they'll like it starts and like, you know, Kirsten, she's a part of your crew. She's also with us and she's a moderator. But like then I have like the chief moderators that are just like have been like, oh geez. I'm telling you, if Caitlin's like even like in a bad mood and someone repeats the Wordle answer 2 or 3 times, they're blocked. It's over. They're never coming back. Like that's called spamming the chat and they will get kicked out so fast. And what's really funny too is that it gets to because like I don't have like because I'm we're hosting. I can't block every single person. There's no way I could, but it is so ruthless sometimes. And then like they'll like in TikTok, they'll just share because they can't come in. So one of their friends will come in to start to troll the person that so like I have to then protect like if someone talks bad about my chief moderators, bro, I get oh my god, first of all like muted forever, blocked forever, and I'm like don't like get like the way that I protect our community is like it's like a pack of wolves.
You have to. Yeah, absolutely.
I know.
And the thing is like sometimes like see for me that's Lulu. Lulu is the bouncer at the bar that knows all. She's like Conor McGregor. When she walks in, it's like that. She's wearing a pantsuit and she kicks ass. And she does that well because like that's her role. And the thing is like there's been so many times where I've said to her behind the curtain, "Hey, like I'll take care of this one." She's like, "Nope, this is my job. They have to understand like these are the rules." And the thing is like sometimes people get upset and they get hurt because they get told the same things or they get corrected in some way. But those things have to be in place and you can't just let people completely run amok, because then the community begins to fracture and it begins to fall apart. We don't deal with trolls. We deal with people inside the community that try to like become their own coup, and it becomes a power vacuum. That's what we have to deal with. So
we've got that too, bud.
Oh yeah, the 5 years that we've done this, there have been like several little cliques and groups that have happened over the years that thankfully we've been strong enough as a community and as the mod team overall to make sure that we can survive the people that come in that try to fracture the community.
Yeah, it's crazy. Over in TikTok, there's like, I'm sure you have like donations that people can send like during the chat or during the live stream. Well, on TikTok, that gifting culture is massive. I mean, like it is the way to monetize. So it is so violent, if you will, amongst live streamers. I mean, we had to block a person that like pretended to be a part of our community for months. And all they were really doing was seeing who our top gifters were. And then started poaching them to their team.
Bro.
Okay, so they were like, oh, well, I'm gonna see you on my whatever. Oh, blah, 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 blah. And would send literal messages to them 2 to 3 times every single day.
That's crazy.
And it got so poisonous that like so our team started to not understand, but because I'm also a talent manager, they thought that this was one of the creators that I was supporting. So then there were people like, oh, yeah, I'm happy to go and help. I'm like, oh, no, this person has massive violations. They can't even join. There's like hate speech in their things. Like, this is so bad. And so then we had to like, as a community, like immediately block this one. It is so real, dude. Oh, my God.
Wow. And that's scary. It's like you said you've been doing this for 5 years. I've been doing it for about 5 years. We work so hard to not just build a platform, but to create a space where people do feel like they're at home with friends, with family.
Safe.
And to have people come in that want to break that up. That's why we have to be ruthless. And even though we're both very nice, handsome, no body fat, charismatic kind of guys, legit, like we have to be able to slap some asses when we need to, but like in a mean way, not like in a birthday way. Okay, I've said too much. Don't put that in the book.
All of a sudden, I'm getting restrictions. No,
Damn it! It was so close.
Oh God, that's so funny. All right, anything on your end over there that you want to know from me for your community?
Yeah, I've got a question from Wood. He says, "Did you find anything from writing this book that you never considered, or that you learned that you didn't know beforehand?"
Yes, and I could actually say about 10 things.
Okay.
The beautiful thing about writing a book is it forces you to dig deeper. So like I show up every day. I know what I'm doing. This is something I take very professionally. I am a professional live streamer. This is something that I pretty much really understand. I felt confident enough to write a book. There is nothing more humbling about something that you think you know a lot of when you really start to put on paper everything that you know about it.
Yeah.
It was so humbling. And because it's almost like I'm teaching people to do things, and then I realize that I'm not even doing them. Like, oh my God, I have this one section that's called chat before the chat talks back.
Oh yeah.
And it's about like, it's your job to be talking to people before they even come in. And like, so like I use this illustration of me talking about the laundry. Like, it doesn't even matter what the hell you're talking about. It matters about talking. So like, I'll be like, oh my God. And this is when this is before I even press the live button.
Yeah.
So I will actually start a story before, and I teach people to do this because they have to get comfortable to talk to a tiny little record button to nobody. And if you can't do that, you got to rethink live streaming.
Yeah.
But seriously, so I talk about that, and then I realized, holy shit, like the last 6 times I've been live in the morning, I'll press live and then wait for my community to walk in before I start talking. And I probably missed hundreds of people.
Wow.
That scrolled in that first second. And I'm like, damn it, dude, you're writing and then not doing it. And that has actually happened probably 10 to 20 times writing this book. That's a great question.
That's a good one. And I've got one more if you got time.
I have time.
Okay. So Tracy, who we call Moist Crumpet, She's from Britain, and she sent me some crumpets in the mail. It took like 3 months to get to me, and they were moist by the time they arrived.
I don't know what the hell is happening, but okay.
Yeah, we found him in the couch. Anyway, so Moist Crumpet asks, is it easy to merge the vast cultures and very diverse audiences on TikTok? Like here on the couch, we realize that time zones and language restrictions can be supported, but on TikTok, is there anything that you have to do differently to kind of account for that, the global audience?
I will say it's much more difficult to go from TikTok to places like YouTube and or Twitch. To try to convince an audience on TikTok to come over to a different world is next to impossible. But coming from Twitch or YouTube to TikTok is actually wildly easy. And it's because TikTok is kind of the all-encompassing entertainment platform for a mobile device. Pretty much everybody that has Twitch has TikTok. Everybody that has YouTube has TikTok. Now, I said pretty much. Now, listen, us old guys with gray hairs are not. I had to be taught what TikTok was before I even started. Okay? Trust me. Okay. But more often than not, you have a much larger user base that's already on the app of TikTok as opposed to Twitch and YouTube. So that transition is much easier than the other transition.
Okay.
I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You guys have any last second questions? I think Punk Rock's got to move out. Any last alibis on the couch side over here? I think this was really good. Hopefully,
on that note, I need everybody that's in my TikTok room. If you are a Twitcher or if you're YouTube, it is essential to go get on the couch and talk to Rogue Roscoe on Twitch. What's your YouTube handle again, just in case people want to find you there?
It's at this Roscoe, which we realized was incorrect earlier, but it's at this Roscoe. If you look for us on YouTube, you'll find us.
I'm going to put that in my chat if I can get one of my moderators to pin that, so if anybody wants to see that. I'm the Punk Rock Teacher over on TikTok. That's kind of where I live. I'm on other platforms, but I'm pretty TikTok exclusive.
Okay. And then for my people, if you have guts and you know how to fight, head over to TikTok and go visit Aaron.
The book will be finished by the end of the summer.
Nice.
It'll go through the editing process, and my goal is to have it out by the beginning of the year. The editing process is pretty intense. This will be self-published, so it's going to be like we could talk all about publishing one day. When you want to write your book, make sure you hit me up. We'll talk about how to do that, because I'm sure people will want to read the Roscoe book.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've written one and it's terrible, and I also self-published, so I understand wholeheartedly.
I want to read that. I want to talk about that more, okay? Because I feel like this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Thank you so much again, guys. Seriously, brother, thank you. This means the world to me. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your community. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for doing what you do.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the chat, and at any time, we'll link back up. To all the misfits out there, look out for each other, because we all still have a very long journey ahead of us, and you will never be alone. Bro, I killed that.
That was so good. I literally shut my live down right after you said the word alone. I swear to God, I knew it was coming, bro. I knew from it that you were gonna go with "You Are Never Alone," and I just totally backed it.
Killed it.